Hello there and welcome back to my channel. We're going to be getting ready together and I'm going to be doing a quicker look because my husband just called and spur of the moment, we need to run an errand. So I'm like, I got to get my face on. Now, it just so happens that on Mother's Day, he gave me a gift, Charlotte Tilbury. He might have had somebody pick it out for him, but I wanted to try the new Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look of Love in a palette. I ordered the lighter shade. There's two shade options. The outer packaging is beautiful, but I also love that she changed the inner packaging or the actual palette packaging as well. Isn't it gorgeous? This includes the original Film Star bronzer, the light version, and her face powder, which I think is brilliant. And then 3 eyeshadows, a blush, a highlighter. So I feel like this is one of the best that she has done. So I'm going to be using this today along with one of the new lipsticks that he also got for me. This is one of her new, let's see, this is the Matte Revolution Luminous Modern Matte lipsticks. And on the actual lipstick bullet are stamped hearts. So we need to get going. I did a look with this palette yesterday and I think I'm going to tweak it slightly but do something similar. So starting off, I'm going back to my tried and true Smashbox 24-hour eyeshadow primer. I'm going to go ahead and apply foundation while that eyeshadow primer sets, and today I'm using one of my all-time favorites, the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Liquid. I'm combining two shades. I have Toffee 19 and Golden Nude 13. I have some Sunless Tanner on, and there should be a Sunless Tanner video up. If so, I'll link it here so you know what Sunless Tanner I used. But I'm going to go ahead and apply this. I mixed those two colors kind of to get, hopefully, the right shade for me today. And then I'm going to use my Stands Out sponge to blend that in. This just makes really quick work of blending in foundation. You can use it dry, so you don't have to run to the sink and dampen your sponge. I know that only takes like 2 minutes, but sometimes we don't have the extra 2 minutes, right? And I just like that this one keeps the coverage of the foundation as well. Sometimes when you use a damp, actually most times when you use a damp sponge, it can lessen the coverage. But I just feel like this sponge, I've had a renewed love with it recently. All right, I need to do some brows real quick, and I just pulled this out because I had this handy. This is the NYX Precision Brow, or Micro Brow Pencil, sorry, the small one in ash brown. So I'm just quickly going to fill in my brows here. And then I'm going to add just a little touch of the e.l.f. Wow Brow, and this is the shade Brunette. Hopefully this doesn't add too much darkness. I'll have to fix that inner corner, but I think we'll be good. Just like the texture that this brow gel adds to the brow. Okay, all right. Brows are done. That always is one of those time-consuming steps, but so necessary. All right, let's go to our palette. So there's not a matte cream eyeshadow, but her powder is pigmented enough to provide just the perfect little brow bone highlight there under the brow. So that's what we're gonna use. I'm using the Sigma E50 brush for this step. Next, going in with the BK Beauty 201 brush. Yesterday, I started off with this bronzer shade. I'm going to go right into the smoke shade. This is number 3, Eye Smoke. Let's just see if we can lightly kind of put this through the crease and then intensify it later. Yeah, I think so. These shadows, I do really like Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadow formula. They have very little powder kick up, and generally they seem to be pretty easy to blend and they do stay well on the eyes throughout the day. I always use an eyeshadow primer, but you can tell a difference in quality for sure, even with an eyeshadow primer between shadows. And these hold up very nicely. All right, so I'm gonna tap now just a little bit of this and the smoke shade. So a little bit of the face powder and the smoke shade just to kind of blend above the crease there. All right, let's intensify that just slightly. I'm gonna go down to a 206 brush from BK Beauty and just go in with that smoke shade now and go lower, kind of in the outer corner, and go down to the outer lash line there. And just with swirling motions, just going to kind of add a little more depth here in the outer corner. So that's about as dark as that shadow will go, but I think it's a pretty good amount of depth, especially for just kind of lighter day looks. I think sometimes the matte shade in her palettes isn't dark enough in my opinion, but I think this one adds a good amount of depth. I'm going to add a little more in a moment with a cream shadow stick, but I think that by itself is really pretty. So I'm going to add a cream shadow base on the lid. I did this yesterday and I just like the effect. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Rose Gold. And this is a really nice like whipped formula. And I do think that it just enhances anything that you put on top of it. It's also very pretty by itself. Very, very subtle. But I just want to add this today because I did that yesterday with the shadow on top and loved it. Then I'm going to add this center shade, which is just a real soft kind of pearly taupey color. I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of that right there, kind of where the outer corner matte shade kind of stops and then where our lid shade starts. And then wipe off my finger and I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is, I already wore off the stamped impression. What does it say? This is the Eye Brighten shade. So that second one was the Eye Enhance. This is the Eye Brighten, and I just love it. It looks like it's gonna be real chunky glitter, but it's not. It is really brightening though. It provides just a beautiful shine and shimmer. It is a shimmery shade, more shimmer than that second one, but I absolutely love it. If you know me, this kind of peachy champagne-y color is one of my favorites to put on the lid. Okay, for my upper lash line, for liner and just a little extra depth, I'm gonna go in with the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Cocoa. And I'm just going to put this right into the roots of the lashes. And then I'm going to smoke this just a little bit here in the outer corner. So kind of creating just a little bit of a wedge shape. And you really don't, you want to apply these caviar sticks in small increments. I always get into trouble when I try to add too much product all at once, you know? So add a little bit and then I'm gonna blend it out with the BK Beauty 207. You just need a kind of a synthetic brush, works best with cream shadows. And just going to kind of soften that edge and just add the tiniest little bit of extra depth here in this outer corner. And then I'll wipe off that brush and go in with a little bit of that eye smoke shade right over the top of it. And that just helps kind of with the blended look, gives it more of a blended look, but it also helps set that caviar stick in place. And then I'll go back one more time with the 206, just blend the edge there. And then I'll just go back with just a tiny little bit of this, just to touch up right here. Always kind of like to do that after I've blended the outer corner colors, so you can make sure everything stays vibrant. All right, one last step that I didn't do yesterday until the very end, which I'm going to add now, is I took the 201 brush and a little bit of this blush color. So this is Cheek Pop, and just added a tiny little bit of that through the crease. And you'll see why once we get to the cheeks and get everything done. This just helps pull the whole look together from this palette, I think. On the lower lash line, I'm going to use Double Life from Urban Decay and just smudging this right into the roots of the lashes. And then I'll take the Morphe M432 and just a touch of the smoke shade in the outer corner, right into the roots of the lashes. And then I'll take a little bit of the center shade, Eye Enhance, and use that kind of in the center just to soften and add a little bit of shine here. All right, let's clean up under the eyes. I am using Now Solutions Almond Oil. I just transfer it into this beautiful bottle. And as I clean up, I mean, there's a tiny little bit of shadow on the tip of my Q-tip, but not much at all. So her shadows definitely are not messy, and I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to experiment. I know I shouldn't do this when I'm in a hurry, but I'm going to experiment just a little bit with one new product. It just came yesterday. I bought this. It's the Fenty Beauty Bright Fix Eye Brightener. So Fenty Beauty just came out with these eye brightener. They're, I guess, kind of concealer, kind of color correctors. I got a color correcting shade. I got the shade Peach 09, and it says instantly hydrates, brightens, and blurs, light as air, sheer to buildable coverage that lasts. So we're gonna see. It has a very unusual tip on it. It's clear, but it's like a bulb here. Kind of interesting. I don't know. So let's see. I think I'm gonna put this on the back of my hand for now and just apply it lightly so I can control how much. So you can see it, I did purposely order more of a color correcting shade. We'll see, hopefully this isn't too dark. Now, because I got a kind of correcting shade, I'm definitely going to need concealer because you can see peach, but it's really, I think, disguising the darkness. I'm gonna use the Clinique, what is this, Even Better All Over Concealer, and I have the shade A50. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of this. Tap that in with my G2 from Morphe. I don't even know if they make this brush anymore, but oh, it's been one of my favorites when I'm in a hurry to tap in concealer. And it's so soft. All right, the two of those combined, I think I've done a pretty good job. I feel like I could use a little brightening down the center of my face. I think I'm going to use my Dose of Colors concealer in the shade 10 Light. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of this here, just to kind of brighten just a little. All right, I'll go ahead and set the face with this powder. Since I'm in a rush, this one usually doesn't keep me kind of shine free for a whole day, but I think for now it will be fine. Now this shade is kind of interesting. It seems like it's darker than shade number 2. This is her Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, but it says it's light medium, but if you're fair skinned, this is gonna be way too dark of a powder. But on my more tan skin, I mean, you can see it kind of almost even darkened my foundation just slightly. It is a really nice powder. It's my favorite for under the under eye. So I'm going to just run a little bit of it there. All right, for contour, this is the Film Star Bronzer Contour Shade, which was, I was so happy she did this. So I'm using the Sigma F05 brush. Now this is the perfect kind of contour shade, I think, for light to even medium shade. I feel like on my more medium skin tone, I can get away with this, just build it up a little bit, but it's a very beautiful, soft. It's pretty matte, but I would say it's not a flat matte. So it really does look beautiful on the skin and can kind of double as a bronzer too, especially on fairer skin if you go in with a light hand, but I love it as a contour shade. Okay. And then I am going to bring a little bit of it onto kind of the outer part of the cheek. And then I'll use this to contour my nose. All right, let's go in with some blush. Now, these are kind of small pans, but I can kind of work my brush around in it. So this is the E4 from Morphe, and this is a really pretty kind of peachy blush with a sheen. It's not too glittery, or actually there's no glitter, but it's not so glowy that it doesn't give you color. Because sometimes, you know, glowy blushes can be more glow than color. But I feel like this one can really be built up to give you a decent amount of color. And I feel like if you blend a little bit of that with the bronzer shade, you can kind of work it into a bronzer, I should say, with the contour shade. If you've seen my recent blush, bronzer, contour, blonzer video, you'll know kind of what that distinction is. All right, for highlighter, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills, I think it's the A2, A22 brush. I don't know, it's completely worn off, but we're gonna go in with the face highlight shade. And this is the first face palette that I feel like she didn't duplicate colors and finishes in here. So in previous face palettes, I felt like she's done a kind of glowy eyeshadow color and a glowy highlighter, and you know, and this is one that I feel like everything truly has a purpose. So this is a beautiful highlight shade, and very soft, but it can be built up to give you quite a bit of glow if you want it. And then I'm going to use that on the inner corner of the eyes as my inner corner highlight today. And then use the Sigma E30 just to kind of further blend edges of that. And then I'm going to use just a touch of that mixed with a little bit of the powder. And I'm going to put this right under just the arch of the brow, just for that tiny little kind of glimmer of light there. Not too much, because I don't like it to be too glowy up here, but I feel like that face powder kind of helps tone down the glow. There we go. All right, time to add some mascara. I'm going to use my usual trio. The Origins Underwear for Lashes Primer with the IT Cosmetics Superhero on my upper lashes, and then the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions on the lower lash line, because that does not smudge on me. All right, and then I am going to add just a little bit of my Becca Hydra Mist Set and Refresh powder. I just, sometimes when I'm all done, like to pat a little bit of this just in the center of the face if I have a moment. just to further kind of refine the look of the pores, and it just helps also make my makeup last a little longer. Okay. After wiping off the balm that I had on my lips, I'm gonna go around the edge with the Soft Ochre Paint Pot, with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. Okay, and for lipstick, as I said, I think I'm going to use this new shade called Wedding Bells. Let me show you a swatch on the back of my hand, but I'm also gonna show you another color. Isn't that pretty? So it's definitely, it has some brightness and pink, but I think it still has some neutral tones to it. But the other shade that I got for free, it was a free gift with purchase. Charlotte Tilbury, if you shop it the right way and at the right time, you can usually get something free. So this is a new shade of the Matte Revolution Luminous Modern Matte also, but different packaging, so beautiful. And this is the shade Mrs. Kisses. And this one has little lips imprinted on it. I mean, just adorable. Now this one is definitely warmer, has slight little bit of more reddish tones to it, I think. So I'll do a look with that one too. But today we're gonna go a little more in the neutral pinky arena, I think. So I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Iconic Nude. And now let's apply this beautiful lipstick, Wedding Bells. All right, I fixed my hair, got dressed, and it's amazing how that just makes the whole look come together. So here we are, our finished look, and I got done just in time. My husband just came home, so it's time to head out the door. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will continue using all of these new products from Charlotte Tilbury, but I actually really think these are going to be ones that I reach for often. Aside from the powder being a little bit dark, I think the rest of it is just perfect for a full face. And then the lipstick, I already know it's very long wearing, and I think it is just a really beautiful color. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.